All right, all right, all right. Comms vNext! How we doing? Woohoo! All right. Welcome everybody to Comms vNext 2024. You're not going to have to listen to me for very long yet, but just really quickly wanted to say thank you. People are going to be streaming in here. This is going to be our biggest event yet. So we are so appreciative that you are here. But without further ado, we're going to launch right into the keynote because we have so much in store for you. So I'd like you all to welcome to the stage Ron Pessner, CVP from Microsoft, and we are excited for you, Ron. Come on up.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Thanks so much, Adam. And good morning, everyone. My name is Ron Pessner, and I am a product leader at Microsoft, working in Microsoft Office. And I'm here with two of my colleagues, Jake Cohen and Michael Aldrich. And together, we're just so thrilled to be here because you all have played such a critical role in the transformation of communications with unified communications. And we feel like we're on the wave of a next wave of innovation related to teamwork and collaboration. And so that's what we'd like to share with you today. So by way of really brief introduction, I've been at Microsoft 20 years. I've worked in Windows, I've worked in Xbox, and I've been working on collaboration in Office for the past 8 years. And part of what we're doing is my team's responsible for what we call modern collaboration. So this is next wave of collaborative tools that help teams get their work done. And obviously, we're focused a lot on AI. So a big part of our presentation today is we're going to divide this really into 3 parts. I'll do a little bit of framing up front that talks about some of the insights that we're using to help inform our product work. And then Jake and Michael are going to come up and do a demo for us. And we're going to spend most of the time on a demo, just showing you product. And then at the end, I'm going to share with you how you can also access everything that we're showing you here today. And we're interested in getting your feedback. All right, so with that, probably no great surprise to anyone here, but the world is changing in some pretty fundamental ways. We know industries are really transforming, and we believe we're in this really unique moment, really prepared by the last couple decades of the digitization of business. And we think AI really represents this incredible opportunity to further transform and drive this inflection point. And kind of to make this point, I think you probably all remember this, but AI technology is clearly here. And this slide shows the time to reach 100 million users. I don't know if y'all can see this clearly enough in the back, but you can see that it took the mobile phone about 16 years. You probably all remember this. Remember the internet, took 7 years. I was living in Southeast Asia at the time, and I remember when this happened. And then ChatGPT, as of a little over a year ago, it took just about 3 months to reach. So this diffusion of technology, the rate of diffusion of technology is really unprecedented. Like nothing we've ever seen before, and we think it represents an incredible opportunity for us. History has taught us that technology innovation really drives GDP in some pretty fundamental ways, and this pace of change is accelerating. And you can see here, technology spend has been growing faster than GDP for the last decade. But this slide really shows the impact of various technology innovations over time. And you can see this goes all the way back to the year 1000 and then carries forward to today. But you can see in the 1800s, we started to see a GDP growth multiplier of about 4x from technology innovation. And over the course of the last 100 years, the change was 20x. And we believe with AI as a general purpose technology, we have the potential to really transform work in some pretty fundamental ways and further accelerate this kind of economic growth. All right, so to help us understand what's going on, how many of you have heard of the Work Trends Index? A couple show hands. Okay, great. Awesome. So this is freely available. Microsoft Research publishes the Work Trends Index out on the web. The URL is here, so you can access this information. I would strongly recommend checking it out. It's phenomenal. We have a panel of over 30,000 people around the world in 31 countries, and we're gathering information about how is work changing, and particularly post-pandemic, how is work changing in some pretty fundamental ways. And also, when you think about, like, we combine this insight with what we know in the Microsoft Graph and what we've learned from work on LinkedIn and what we're seeing with job trends on LinkedIn. And then we publish our insights. So what I've done is I've tried to distill this down to just a couple slides with some key data points that have informed our product work at Microsoft. The first is when you think about challenges people are facing, and we're all experiencing these kinds of challenges, but there are really three that I wanted to pull forward. The first is, if you have this in your personal life, you know that like work is literally scattered in a bunch of different places. You've got information and artifacts literally everywhere. Multiple storage, multiple storage locations, multiple chats. It's kind of all over the place. Second is people are feeling information overload. How many of you are feeling information overload? It's very hard to keep up, right? Like I experience this every day. And the third is folks are finding it challenging to get work done. Like it's really sometimes challenging to know where to start. And some sobering data from the Work Trends Index next. I just have two data slides. The first one is 2 out of 3 people say they don't have enough time or energy to do their job. So these are information workers saying 2 out of 3 saying they don't have enough time or energy to do their job. And about 60% of time is spent on communication. So this is just the communication and coordination part of the job, not the innovation part of the job. And so if you think about it, that leaves 40% of your time for creative, deep thinking and collaboration. Like, and we've all got different tactics to deal with this. You know, like some people like carve out time on their calendars. They're like, okay, I'm gonna try to like focus in this time. Some people do the Pomodoro method. I'm gonna focus for a short amount of time to get stuff done. But this is a huge, huge challenge for people. And meetings in particular are a tremendous pain point. And we surveyed a bunch of folks, tried to figure out like, well, what are the things about meetings that don't work for you? And there are really 4 things popped, and these are very sobering. Like the first one is, particularly in a world of online meetings, when it's hard to keep people focused and a lot of people are multitasking, it's difficult to brainstorm. Like doing creative ideation, very challenging. Difficult to catch up. Like if you miss a meeting or show up late to a meeting, it's really, really hard to like understand what got covered. And it's hard to know, like summarize if you missed it completely, summarize what happened. And then the next steps, like translating from a meeting into actually action is also really challenging. So these are some of the insights that have informed our product work as we think about integrating collaboration tools and content creation tools with our communication tools like Teams and Outlook. And then I also want to just take a really quick look back at the evolution of collaboration tools, content collaboration over the course of the last several decades. So collaboration has always been a core human need. And if you rewind all the way back to when Office was first launched, collaboration was happening outside of the document. You probably all remember this moment, right, where everyone's like collaborating and then coming back and then doing their work. And we were focused on digitizing your desktop at that time. Then the document, right around early part of 2000s, the document started getting turned into a shared workspace. And this provided a whole bunch of efficiency if you're trying to create a finished document. Teams were able to come together, do work inside the document, get to a conclusion faster, and that was sort of the first disruption to the general model, but kind of bringing collab into a document that you might want to create or print. The second disruption happened just right before the pandemic. And this was focused a lot more on workflows. So thinking about, okay, I want to get work done, but I don't want to have to think about bouncing between 3 or 4 different applications to do this. And it was really about workflows and thinking about how do workflows help people get things done. And that may or may not result in the creation of a finished document. And so at this time, a number of flexible Canvas tools emerged, and we'll talk about those in a minute. And then the third disruption is the one we're in now, which is around AI, and thinking about how does AI really accelerate these trends. And AI can play a pretty significant role in helping teams and individuals collaborate. Thinking about how to generate content, how to summarize content, like that's a great way to deal with all of this flood of incoming information, is being able to summarize. And then helping you quickly find what you're looking for. That's another key piece that AI can play a role in, and also performing rote tasks. And we'll talk about many of these in a minute. So these two general trends, the first one around the pain points associated with teamwork and collaboration and communications and meetings, and the second one, this rise of what AI can potentially do to help solve some of these problems, has informed our work on Microsoft Loop. Microsoft Loop is an intelligent and flexible canvas with portable components that's aimed at helping teams think, plan, and create together. And there are really three core elements to Loop. There are Loop components, Loop pages, and Loop workspaces. And you might say, like, okay, well, what do you mean by a flexible canvas, or what is this canvas? So you could think about it like a new document format that is really aimed at having collaboration and AI baked into the experience, and it allows you to assemble different pieces, parts together to perform the work that you're aiming to do. And there are really sort of two main, like, how does this work? There are sort of two parts. One is pages and components inside of applications that you already use. And I was talking to Ryan at the beginning, and it's interesting. Microsoft Loop is really aimed at this sort of next generation of collaboration. So we're seeing people earlier in the workforce really embrace this. But many folks are habituated around our existing tools, and we want to make sure they can participate and collaborate as well. And so you'll see this in the demo that Jake and Michael are going to do in a minute. So that's sort of one side of the equation, is having these small pieces of collaborative canvas inside existing experiences. And then the second part is a Loop workspace. And workspaces are a place for you to bring it all together and bring together the information that you and your team need and help you stay in sync and on track. And you can imagine with AI, this is something you can ground on and then be able to ask questions of and be able to make sure that your work is really progressing the way you expect it to. Okay, all right, so with that, that's a brief introduction. We're now gonna shift over to the demo, and I'm gonna invite Michael and Jake to join us. And they're gonna share with you how you can combine a number of our modern tools to make the most out of meetings, make brainstorming much better, and help teams get their work done. So I'll turn it over, all right?
Thank you, Ron. So for this demonstration, we thought it'd be the best way to show you how we use the product and how we prepared for this exact conference and live demonstration. Now, our team at Loop is distributed across many cities and countries. We work in Seattle personally, but we have team members in Boston and New Jersey and the East Coast, as well as people in Europe like Barcelona and in India and New Delhi. So this means we have to leverage all of these modern collaboration tools to its most effective use to make sure we can get our work done and be productive. So let me take you back 3 weeks ago from today, when I was first told that I'd be doing this live demo. That was a bit of a surprise, but I needed to get caught up quickly and get prepared for what was to come today. And so I'm sure many of you have experienced this, but I was added to a messy Teams chat and was told, hey, Jake, you're going to be doing the demo. This was exciting, but I had to quickly get ramped up and learn what decisions were made and what open questions still remained. So how can I most effectively do this? Well, with Copilot and Teams, I can easily ask it simple prompts and questions to get caught up and summarize what's been discussed so far. So this is built in right into Teams on the right-hand side, and I can ask questions like, Copilot, can you summarize the decisions and make a list of unresolved things for me to take action items on? And you can see here, we called out that Ron will be doing the keynote. We'll get a deck from Patrick, and I'll be doing the demo and a few open questions. This made it super fast and easy for me to get caught up on what was discussed and what's coming next. Now, this chat will, of course, continue to evolve and stay messy. So how can we actually turn this chaos of a chat into more clarity? Well, this is where we built Loop components right into Teams. You can add Loop components right at the bottom in the chat message by clicking this icon here. And this will open a menu of simple templates for you to get easily started on collaborating with your team members. I already have a component that I built, so I'll insert that here. And what you'll see is a flexible document that allows all of our team members to co-edit together live in this Teams chat. So we don't have to even switch to a different application. We can update here live together. And here we have an example of some to-dos. This was the summary we just called out from before, and a task list. So this helps our team collaborate together right in the flow of our conversation. And you can see lightning fast simultaneous collaboration. This helps turn our conversations into decisions. So once we made enough progress in this component and chat, it was time to pull in additional team members. we actually had Ron email us and ask us some progress on the conference to see how it's going. And it didn't make sense to add him to this messy chat. So what I can do with Loop Components is copy it from Teams and simply paste it into the email. And it will insert into the email live, so you can see live collaboration happening in both Teams and Outlook at the exact same time. With Loop Components, you can collaborate across all your favorite collaboration tools. Loop Components are portable, which means they stay in sync across all the places they've been shared. And it doesn't work in just Outlook and Teams chat. You can share these in Teams channels, in Outlook, in Word, in OneNote, and in Whiteboard, and more apps in the future. So this is a great way to pull in all your team members across all the collaboration tools you're using. Next, let's fast forward 1 week when I scheduled a meeting with our team to brainstorm for this live demo. Here we have our Teams meeting. And one of the things we learned about meetings that make things a little more inefficient is having clear agendas. In fact, there was a study 50 years ago by Harvard that said that the most way to make meetings more effective is to have a clear agenda. And guess what? 50 years later, we still aren't doing that. Well, we aim to solve for that in Teams. At the bottom of the meeting, you can add a loop meeting notes, which will outline the agenda for the meeting. This is not just for the creator of the meeting, but also all the participants. So we can add more updates here, like discuss together, and team members can make edits. So this makes sure you can have a clear agenda before the meeting even begins. So let's join this meeting with our team members. We've got a team member from Seattle joining us, Derek. And we're going to collaborate on what this demo should entail. The next problem with meetings we learned is meeting notes. The question really becomes, who should take meeting notes, and how is the best way to take those notes? It's common that most meetings don't even have someone taking notes because sometimes it's a thankless task. But here you can see on the right-hand side of this live meeting, the meeting notes is open for every participant, and you can all collaborate together on meeting notes. This encourages others to participate and also just make sure what's being captured is accurate. And this is much better than having a different app taking notes, or even someone taking notes on pen and paper, where only one person is actually capturing what's being discussed. So this is a great way for all of us to understand what's being captured, and a better way for people who weren't able to join to catch up later. All right, so this meeting was all about brainstorming. So what's the best effective way to brainstorm with your team members? We're, of course, in different cities and locations, so we can't huddle in a conference room and use a physical whiteboard. This is why we introduced, we have our digital whiteboard built right into Teams. Coming soon, the whiteboard button will be available at the top of the meeting, so I can simply click this and start a new live session for everyone in the meeting to participate together. We've got a great whiteboard here that we've already created that have a bunch of sticky notes of ideas of things to prepare for in the demo, like highlighting our top key features, making sure to engage with the audience, things like that. We've got Michael and Derek adding more sticky notes here. This is a much more effective way at collaborating together at the same time versus just being in a Teams meeting and having one person talk at a time and maybe being distracted by other apps or things that you're doing on your computer. So this helps us all stay engaged together. But once the meeting finishes and we have all these great ideas, the meeting ends, we feel great, and then you go, oh man, I have to go organize all these. I have to go read through them and synthesize all this great information. Couldn't there be a better way to do this in an automatic way? Well, with a digital whiteboard, we can infuse AI to help us synthesize all this information for us. At the bottom, we have Copilot and Whiteboard. And in this menu, you have a number of options to select from. And this one here is around categorizing. What's really neat is Copilot will understand all the stickies on the whiteboard and will synthesize all the information, know who wrote what, and organize them in a way that's better for me to understand. This takes all the work out of the laborious task of manually doing this. And so you can see here, we have some stickies around demo scenarios, what the value props are, how to engage with the audience, and some other features for the presentation.
What do you think?
Okay, so this is super great and helped me get ready for what's to come next to prepare. The last thing we learned on making meetings more efficient is around making sure we have a clear next steps and action items. Actually, over 55% of meeting attendees said that it was unclear what next steps were and what was going to come after this. Well, on the right-hand side in Loop Meeting Notes, we also have a section for follow-up tasks. You can see Michael and Derek adding new tasks here, and you can assign them to individuals and give them a due date. What's amazing about these is they also synchronize with To-Do and Planner, so if you use those tools to track all of your tasks across all of your work, these will automatically be inserted there. You also get an email reminder before the task is due, and this is helpful for the meeting organizer to not have to be nagging and remind people what they need to go complete. This is all automatically done for you. So this is a great way to stay in sync and on track of what's to come. So that's some advancements in meetings with Loop, Whiteboard, and Copilot to make sure meetings have clear agendas, meeting notes, and tasks.
Thanks, Jake. Excellent. But there's more. So you saw in Ron's earlier slides from our customer research that there's real frustration in summarizing meetings and documenting what's happening in a meeting. And so we thought, wouldn't it be cool if you actually had an assistant that did all the meeting notes for you? And that is what we're going to show you next. This is a peek into the future, the very near future, because later this year, we're going to be introducing Copilot meeting notes. And it automatically will be taking notes for you in your meeting. It will notify you that it's taking notes, much like when you're, let's say, getting notified for a recording. And it'll immediately start to take notes, and you'll see the blue cursor on the far right. It's a small screen, so you can see over there. The blue cursor is actually Copilot taking the notes and using the transcriptions from the verbal feedback that people are giving in the meeting, plus any chats. And it's automatically taking those notes. And then the red cursor is actually meeting participants, so they can also join in the note-taking if they want to and augment what Copilot is building. So this is Copilot meeting notes, and it's coming later this year. So I think we have a lot more work to do, don't we, Jake? So what's next?
Thanks, Michael. Okay, so we're done with brainstorming and had a great effective meeting, so we can end this call next. Now, it might feel that the work is finished, but after a meeting, the work is really just beginning. We're going to continue to collaborate with our team members to progress and make progress, but we're going to have more chats, more meetings, and more document artifacts spread all over the place. That's what we were talking about with this digital debt. And sometimes it can take a lot of time just finding the right chat or finding the right document to know what's the latest status and what I need to work on next. So how do we better kickstart this project and turn it into progress? Well, this is really the true value prop of the Loop app and why we built it, to bring everything together in one place with your team members and all of your documents and projects. In the meeting, you can go to the chat and see here at the bottom, there's an option to open into a Loop workspace. What this is doing is creating a brand new workspace for our team to collaborate together on this project. It pulls in all our relevant team members, and it also pulls in all the document artifacts related to this meeting, like our meeting notes and our whiteboard, and brings it into one place. And what's neat is as the meeting series continues and more documents and resources are being shared, they'll get automatically pulled into this workspace. So this right here is the Loop app, and it's going to be pulling in all of the documents on the left-hand side. You can see here, this was the meeting agenda that we just had, and our whiteboard and the presentation PowerPoint. You can think of the workspace as a modern folder. It's a container or a folder of all of your documents, pages, and files that you're working with your team. And it also allows you to add new members to this space so everyone can collaborate together. And in the middle of Loop is the Loop page. This is our flexible document that allows teams to collaborate together. So let me show you how you can create new content. I'll start in this new page, and sometimes it can be intimidating to start with a blank slate. So we've included a bunch of great templates to help get you kick-started. I want a page that gives new workspace members an idea of what this is all about, so we'll create a project brief. And you can see here an automatically beautifully created page. We're building Loop to be simple and beautiful, yet highly capable, to allow you to collaborate as effectively as possible. So let me show you a few cool things you can do in Loop. First, to insert new content, you can simply type the /. This will open a menu with a bunch of amazing building blocks, both simple and complex, to help you create new content with others. We have some simple things like tables, checklists, and bullet lists. We have different types of text styles and headers. and templates that turn a table into something more advanced like a task list that syncs with to-do. We also have integrations with Microsoft tools and third-party tools in the future coming, and we'll show you a bit of that in a moment. So let me add some more structure to this page. So I'm going to first add a table of contents to look at the header. I'm going to add a call out and give a note to say, hey team, super excited, and give it a little more personality. My favorite emoji is the rocket ship, so we'll do that. And we're building Loop as well to have more human connection with your team members, especially when working remote. So we can do fun things like add a boost. This is a fun way to express yourself and give some excitement to the other team. So anytime they open the workspace, something like this happens and gets you a little more excited. We want to make sure work is both serious and fun. So that's how easy it is to create new content in Loop. Now, let's fast forward one more week where we had a more structured workspace as we were collaborating further. Here we have a lot more content in the workspace and we have more team members. And we were starting to plan and track all of our tasks and assignments that we needed to get done. In Loop, you can do lightweight project management with a status tracker like this, where you can track work items, assign them to people, and check the status and when we need to have them due. You can do a lot of cool things with this, like change the view to a board if that's more useful for you. And you can do things like filtering and sorting and understanding what's left. Now, your project will evolve, and we want Loop to evolve with you. So if you're already using project management tools like Planner, Loop works with that as well. Here you can see all of the integrations we already have working. Here's the Planner board. So instead of switching to the Planner app, you can work right inside the Loop canvas and make updates to the Planner board. We also work with Azure DevOps, so you can pull in all your tasks and work items. This stays in sync as well. And we're working with tools like Jira and Trello to pull in tasks and items for your team. And if your team's using a design tool like Figma, you can also embed your Figma designs right into the Loop app. This makes it easier to have everything in one place and not require context switching between apps. Saves time. So let's go back to our checklist, and there was one more thing I remembered. There were some questions about AV. And I'm going to add this one to Michael to see if he can help. I'm going to say I'm blocked on this one, and it's due today. Michael, can you help us with this one?
Sure, Jake. Although I think if everyone in the audience can see what I see, I'm doing all the work here in this. One more task from Jake. Thank you. Let's switch over and show them how we get work done. One of the big things that we know all organizations face, both small and large, is you work with virtual teams. Some people are actually employees, and some people are contractors, vendors, partners, and you need to be able to collaborate with them too. So we are showing you a brand new capability today that we are going to be rolling out next month called Guest Access for Loop. And in order for me to, whoa, people are excited about Guest Access. Let's give it up. So Guest Access is going to roll out for small businesses first in the next month, and then we'll be rolling it out for enterprises later this summer. So to demonstrate this, and to be able to answer Jake's question, I have a good friend in the room, Jonathan McKinney. You may know this guy. So Jonathan, we invited Jonathan earlier into our workspace, and you can see right here, we invited Jonathan right here, but I could add any email address here. It could be a consumer email address, it could be an AAD address, but you'll be able to then add a guest to both workspaces and pages and be able to do that easily and quickly. So we've already got Jonathan in here. So Jonathan, if you could help answer the questions about connectors. And you can see Jonathan right now is collaborating instantaneously, giving us answers to the connectors that we need on stage. So Jake, I've got the answers to the questions, and I know that we still have a lot of work to finish up. So I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate it. So now that we've been able to collaborate not only with people in our company, but outside of our company, we're making really great progress, and we can check this one off. Next, we want to make sure that new team members who are introduced to the project have a quick and effective way to get ramped up on the current status of the project and what's happening and what's coming next. So what we've done is built a workspace status right into the Loop that allows you to do this. It's up here on the left-hand side. And this status, workspace status, is using AI to ground and understand all of the information in this workspace to summarize simple insights that make it really great to see what's the latest. You can see what pages have the most discussions, how many tasks have been completed, and if anything is overdue. You can also deep dive into all the tasks across all of the pages in this workspace and see who's assigned to what, and you can dive right into the page from here. You can also see different team recaps and the status labels as well. So this is a great way for a new team member to get a good summary of where the project's at and what's coming next. You can imagine in the future new ways for us to automate a status update for you so you can send this out to your team without having to manually write this yourself. So one of the last things we needed to prepare for this demo and conference was just an executive brief and summary of what's to come. We started creating that together in Loop, and you can see here we have some of the goals for this event, some of our key documents, our schedule planning, and all of the events that we're doing. So this is a great way to summarize everything. And there's just one more thing I wanted to include here, something like just a too long didn't read summary at the top. And instead of writing this myself, it's kind of running out of time, what I can do is call upon Copilot to do the work for me. So Copilot can summarize this in an easy to read way. And what we're really excited about with Loop and Copilot is we're building this experience with collaboration first. So you can see here the page summary that Copilot drafted. And on the right-hand side, everyone in the workspace can see that Jake added this summarized page prompt. Now, other team members can add different prompts or say, hey, make this shorter or make this a paragraph, make this more exciting. And everyone will be able to see that. And you can look past in different versions of the Copilot prompt to help other team members learn prompts and be able to craft the document in the best way possible together. So it's not one-on-one Copilot interactions, it's team interactions with Copilot. So we think that's really neat. So this summary is looking great. I'm happy with it. So the last step was to send this over in email to Ron. You've seen this with components, and you can do the same thing with pages. I can copy this and send it into email. And now Ron can see a summary of everything that's to come for this week. And if any changes are made after clicking send, those last-minute changes over the weekend, it'll update live in an email. It'll see the latest, so you don't have to go look for somewhere else. So that was just a quick demonstration of how our team used Teams, Whiteboard, Loop, and Copilot to prepare for this conference and demo. And it's just one example of the ways you can use all of these tools together to collaborate more effectively.
All right, let's give it up for Jake. Amazing job. Way to go, man. So what you saw today was just one use case. But what we showed you was how you can make the most of meetings by turning chats and channels into decisions, delegation, work streams. Then we showed you how that frustration that people have with brainstorming virtually, we can really address that with virtual whiteboards and applying AI to that and adding new kinds of innovations that you could never imagine doing in a conference room. And then finally, every meeting ends up having action items and work and projects. And how do we turn those projects into progress? And how do we keep them the team in sync and on track? So you saw how we can do that today by bringing all that disparate information into the Loop app. It's like an aggregation center where you can bring all these different pieces of information and make it a hub of information for your project, whether it's with Microsoft 365 apps or other third-party apps. So this is Loop, Teams, Whiteboard, and Copilot. Now, what we'd like to show you is what other customers are doing. We've been actually working with a lot of customers around the world, helping to give us input on how to build Loop. And now we're going to show you one customer and what their experience has been.
The first thing that I open before I even look in my emails is Loop.
We have a very innovative culture here on job there. We work with developers around the world.
We searched for a tool that could really centralize all of that, so we could work really good collaboratively on all of our information. And through that spark, we found out about Loop and used it ever since.
We have the product development, we have designers, we have software developers. And everyone can work in Loop and give their thoughts on the projects. So we always know which direction is the way we need to go.
We bring all people together. It helps us to concentrate our ideas and to go on straightforward.
You can work from home, you can work from the office, and the communication in the team is very easy with Loop.
It's a very cool thing to use the Loop app in bus or train. We are remote, yes, but we are together all, and we're working on one place.
My routine, I would say, is like checking my to-dos in the Loop app directly when I'm on the bus. And when I'm getting into the office, I'm all set and done for the day.
I can see what projects are running right now, what updates have come in overnight if someone has worked late.
Nobody really gets left out, especially if you're in an early stage of projects and can bring your work or your projects to the next level.
All right, so a big round of applause to Jake and Michael for the demo. It's a great demo. There we go. All right. Okay, so a super comprehensive demo. Like, you could see tons of use cases, and you can apply Loop to a number of different projects and keep your team moving forward. So we talked about Jobware. Jobware has teams that are several teams that are literally one of thousands of teams that we're working with around the world to build Loop. And I just wanted to say thank you to all the customers who have given us feedback. Like, there's so many customers in our technology adoption program, and they've been very active with us, giving us feedback around the product. And we've seen satisfaction with Loop really climb over the course of the last several months. And as people get in and use the product, that's what we're looking for. We want to understand, is this truly transformative, and creating a stage for AI to really help advance collaborative teamwork. All right, so how can you also see and use what Jake and Michael stepped you through today? So the Loop app is available with Business Standard and Business Premium, as well as E3, E5, A3, and A5 for education. This allows you to access the Loop app and be able to invite people and start collaborating. Loop components are available in Office 365 and M365. So these are part of the collaborative ecosystem, and you'll see these inside the experiences today. And then you can also access Copilot with a Copilot license. So if you have a Copilot license and M365, you'll be able to do what Jake and Michael stepped you through. And you can try all of this at loop.microsoft.com. And as you saw from Jobware, we also have a mobile app. So we are both web and mobile. And you can see there are links here to the URLs associated with both the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store, where you can download these also. So these will be available afterwards. And then we've also got a number of, you probably noticed these posters around. They also scan to QR codes that can take you to onboarding materials about how to get the most out of Loop. All right, so there's obviously a packed agenda for the next couple days. And so we pulled forward some sessions that we thought you might also find interesting, and wanted to also invite you to provide feedback. So please feel free to scan this survey and send us any feedback on what you saw this morning and anything else that you'd like to see or questions that you might have, and we'll circle back with you. Also, there's an opportunity inside this survey if you're interested in participating in our TAP program. You can indicate that interest there, and Michael, who runs our TAP program, will follow up with you. So I wanted to close by saying a huge thank you to the Comms vNext organizers and community for having us here today, particularly Pat Richard, who helped us with all the AV, Josh Blaylock, thank you, Adam Ball, and Jonathan McKinney. Awesome, thank you so much, and I will pass it back to Adam.
Awesome, thanks Ron, appreciate it. All right, Everybody, thank you so much. Wow. I'll let in, excuse me, sorry. Real quick show of hands. How many people were not expecting that this morning? At least, I mean, we're all here for communications, right? And so now all of a sudden we pivoted a little bit. As Comms vNext, we try to constantly find ways that we can all be maturing in this digital landscape. It's not just all about, I hear it all the time as in the day job of, hey, I've deployed phone system, we're done. And the answer is no. It's just the beginning, so much of that. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take care of a little bit of housekeeping. We're gonna have Jimmy come up and kind of get set up here for just a minute, but really quickly, if I have not met you, or if I have and we just haven't actually met face to face, I'm Adam Ball. I am one of the co-founders here of Comms vNext, and along with, as Ron mentioned, Josh and Jonathan and Pat. But I have a couple of things just to quickly say thank you to a lot of people. This year has been amazing just because of all of the volunteers. So really quickly, I would love it if you can have an appreciation for the volunteers. And as you're going around today, they all have different colored shirts than everybody else. What? It's teal. Thank you, colorblind kid up here. And so from that standpoint, it says Rhodey on the back. If you see a volunteer, give them a fist bump, a high five, something, because we really could not have done it without them. Truly, the volunteers have made an amazing amount of difference from that standpoint. So just to kind of make a couple of other quick notes, after this session, this room is going to be completely transformed. This is going to be where you can eat food after this. So lunches and breakfast and everything. Food will actually be served out in the pre-function area, but we'll have rounds of 10 in here so you can eat in here and everything like that. If you did not see, there are bathrooms just out in the hall, just out kind of by the registration desk. Want to make sure folks know about that, as well as we also have the Microsoft Zone coming up later today. This is an incredible opportunity, and I'm so grateful to Microsoft. Microsoft team actually came together and said, hey, we want to do this, and came to us with this idea. So there are folks like the Get to Green team that are here. There will be folks across from the Microsoft team, from different groups and everything that will be out there. I know Jake and Michael will be spending some time out there. You know, Jimmy, you may be even having some time out there, but there are sessions that are happening. There's also the podcast booth that will be having literally, like, we've got like 15 or 20 different podcasts that are going to be recorded while we're here from that standpoint. Hang on, I gotta make sure I made sure through all of my notes. And no, I'm not going blind. So really quickly, last thing, and we will have a little bit of time between the end of this and the first session. Please, please, please go see and say hi and show your appreciation to the sponsors. They make this happen. Truly, they make this happen. And we had sponsors who stepped up last minute even to help make it happen because, like I said earlier, this was our largest group yet. And everybody here, they're the reason why you're here. They truly are. They help make sure this event happens because the four of us don't want to go to our wives and say we spent a whole lot of money on our credit cards. And my wife is here and she knows it. And so from that standpoint, really do appreciate it. Later today, from starting at 4:30, so basically at the end of the last session, Logi is throwing a Hawaiian luau party, and we are so grateful for that. And then, yeah, exactly. This is going to be a lot of fun. So if hopefully you brought your Hawaiian shirts like Adam did, and you will come have a lot of fun with us for this evening. And then tomorrow, Ron, you did a great job highlighting a few sessions, but there are a few other sessions specifically, and I know we did this on purpose. We're going to keep you around to the end. Some of the best sessions are tomorrow afternoon in the late day. We've got Vinay and other folks from the Phones group who are going to be talking. I think their session's at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. Highlighting that. Sorry for all the other folks who are like having to compete too, because let me just tell you, I had at least one person tell me, how do I go to a mall? This is a packed session all week. Like I said, so this is great. There's everything from communications to meeting rooms to all the other components that help you mature in your journey here. And Jimmy, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for all of the organizers. Thank you. Give a vote for Adam and everybody else and all the volunteers here. Thank you for this. My name is Jimmy Vaughn. I'm from the Teams Room team. And Adam and Josh came up to me and they said, hey, can you have some fun right at the end of the keynote? So that's what we're going to do here. I actually get to teach our partners about Teams Rooms. And one of the ways that I teach the roadmap is actually going through slide decks like this. But I don't just go through slide decks. I have some fun with this stuff. So we're going to play a game of Jeopardy, and we have some prizes for everybody if you get the right answers. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to ask people to raise your hand, come up with one of the categories. As you can see, the top categories are what Microsoft Teams Rooms represents: inclusive, intelligent, easy to use, flexible, secure to manage, and then I put in a randomizer. We're going to go through about 5 different questions here because I see I have a countdown timer. I didn't know about that. But tomorrow, Michael Tressler and I have another session where we're going to go through the whole thing. We're going to give out some prizes there as well. So why don't we start with one? Anybody got a hand up, want to shout out, want to give me a category to pick? For how much? 200. All right, let's start here. So you can't hear this, but your laptop or mobile device can when you're in a Teams room, and it helps your mobile device or desktop app know that you're inside of a Teams room. Answer, please. What is ultrasonic? That is correct. I don't know who said that. I sort of saw it. Adam, we have prizes for these people. Who gave me the ultrasonic? There we go, 100%. So ultrasonic sound for Teams rooms. What is this? Ultrasonic is a technology that actually is above what is human hearing. Now, this isn't for everybody. Ultrasonic can be heard by certain people. I'm of a certain age. My hearing's gone, which means that I can't hear ultrasonic. But if you want to know if ultrasonic is going on, you can bring your dog into the room. Your dog will go nuts if he hears ultrasonic. This is going to help strengthen the mobile devices, the laptops inside of a room, to know that you're inside of a room, because this is key when we're doing things. Number one, we want to know that you're inside of a room so we can do things like use your laptop camera. We can actually choose things that are going on, but we can only do that if we know that you're inside of the room. So ultrasonic is the technology that goes through that. Now, I got to go through this, and I'll just click this. My mouse is very sensitive, so hold on 1 second. This will get it. Next question. Easy to use for 600. I got Rick over there who's helping me out. All right. When you're on the left-hand side of the screen as a remote attendee, your audio will match. What is the technology, Rick? Spatial audio is correct. So with front row, how many people know front row inside of this room? Good. I have done a whole bunch of teaching about front row. Front row is a layout, and it is just, I like to say it's just a layout, but it's so much more than a layout, because it really has captured a lot of people's imaginations inside of a conference room. It takes what has been popular inside of conference rooms with the gallery, the content, and the chat, and everything else, and puts it onto the screen. So front row, we're going to try to make meetings a little bit more natural. Think about when something happens inside of a room. Let's take, for example, a coffee cup drops. Instinctually, my head does not have to think about where did that sound come from. I know if the coffee cup dropped on the right-hand side of the room, it's been millions of years that my right-hand ear will hear that before my left-hand ear. Why? Because audio is really, at its base, nothing more than moving air. And if we can take this and instinctually put this inside of meetings, meaning that on the gallery side, if somebody's on the right-hand side of the screen or the left-hand side of the screen, match their audio, it becomes less taxing inside of the room to actually think about who's actually speaking from the screen. This is the idea. We want to make things a little bit more natural inside of that meeting room so that technology doesn't become stressful for the people inside of the room. Next question, please. Anybody? Randomizer for 600. Now this one sort of gets into everything. I'm an IT admin, just deployed a Microsoft Teams room on an Android device. What can I do so users always see the front row layout? This is actually inside of the device itself. Basically, it's the idea that it was on the roadmap. I can choose the default layout. Now, we know that people are investing in something called Microsoft Signature Rooms, which is a big place where we use front row. front row is that layout that actually goes into signature rooms. Signature rooms are what you've probably seen in the marketing material, where you have a horseshoe table, or you have something like that. It's a very natural way of meeting. Front row is used so that I can feel like I'm actually sitting across the table from the remote attendees. That is something that we know people have invested in. We're now giving them the opportunity to actually do this. Now, I see that I've gone through. I see that somebody put up, you have plenty of time, Jimmy. So we're going to go for one more question then, and then we're going to wrap this up. Remember, Michael Tressler and I are doing this whole board with without the questions that we actually just went through. We're going to do it tomorrow as well. So one more question. Who wants to get the last one? Easy to use for 1,000. Now, I just want to point out, isn't this a better way of doing a roadmap session than just having slide decks and everything else? But this is the question. For some reason, leaf blowers always use this demonstration in a conference room. I don't know why all of our OEMs use leaf blowers for this demonstration, but they do. I have never been in a meeting in a conference room with a leaf blower, but can you give me the answer? Correct, that is it, AI noise suppression. So we will wipe out the leaf blowers, the typing on keyboards, the muffling of potato chips, all of those kind of things. We're going to do it inside of the cloud so you don't hear those kind of things. That's the idea of removing some of the distractions. You get a sticker, everybody gets a sticker. We're going to do this again tomorrow, Adam, myself and Michael Tressler. We're going to have prizes for everyone that comes to the room to go ahead and participate inside of the game. With that, Adam, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Really quickly, as Jimmy just said, he's going on tomorrow. We've got these very highly prized emoji stickers, and I know they are highly prized because people will swipe them from you if you're not careful. All right, so we are done with the keynote. We have a little bit of time. I think it's almost an hour right now before the first sessions kick off. Please, 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 please go say hi to your favorite sponsor. Go say hi to a new sponsor, somebody you don't know. Go chat them up and see what they've got. Say thank you for being here, and we very much appreciate it, and we'll see you around. Thank you all.